Here. Are you here? Half of me is here. Half of me, and that's all I'm going to get. Okay, I'm going to see if it'll pull up. You should be able to see me and hear me. And I hope it's not crazy today on Facebook. All right, let me know if you're here and tell me where you're from so I can, otherwise I can't see you. I know it's a little crazy. It's Thursday. Yay, it's Thursday. All right, so let me know you're here and where you're coming from and that you can hear me because that will be very appreciated. Okay, I have been working on the computer almost all day today. I can't see. Does that happen to you? Because it does to me. Hi, Valerie and Karen. Scorching Arizona, Karen, huh? And Judy from Tennessee. I like Tennessee, just the sound, Tennessee. That's really cool. And Lynn is here. I am so glad you're here. So like I said, I have been on the computer a lot today, more than I wanted, and it kills my focus. So unless you're right here, I can't see you. And I'm trying to fix my focus so I can see around me, and it's really tough. Does that happen to you guys? Sarah is from, yes, Sarah. Hi, Sarah. Hey, we talked the other day. That was so fun. Jessica Gordon is here. And Evelyn in Michigan. Evelyn has a Destiny too and an Ovation. Well, I have the Destiny also, and I love that machine. It is never going to go out of style. It is never going to. Oh, it looks like Valerie is visiting her parents again. It's been raining all day. I would love to have some rain. Hi, Joyce. I would love to have some rain. The other night we got a bit of a storm, a touch of rain, but not enough. Not enough. Roseanne said, this is the week I spend lots of time on the computer with classes. That's what I've been doing today, and honestly, my eyes are not going to focus for a while. Melody is from Arizona, and Heidi is here. Gosh, I just love it. There are so many of you here. I'm just scrolling through to catch everybody. I don't want to miss anybody. And Janie from White Lake, Michigan. I had a son who lived in Michigan for a while. He lived in Detroit, but he's back home now. Okay. Do I always say take a deep breath? Look, I have to. If I don't, I'm not going to live. So I got to breathe and I've got to be able to see. I can hear good. I can't see good today. So I'm going to work on that. Shelley is in Thunder Bay, Ontario. And I already told you I have never been to Canada. I don't think we live that far away from Canada, but I've never been there. I need to. I've been clear up to the border, but haven't crossed it. I really need to. I talked to my son last night. He's going to help us plan some trips. I have a son, Burke, and he is great to go on trips with because he almost has a map in his head. Do you know people like that? And he can get us anywhere, and he can operate the subways. He knows where he's going, and we always end up where we need to end up. And maybe he doesn't tell us when he gets lost, but we've been places with him. We went to Japan and New York with him, two places that I would have been totally lost. And he had us going exactly where we need to be. In fact, in Tokyo, do you know that they have a miniature Statue of Liberty? It was really pretty cool. And it was out in this little park. I don't even know how he found it, but he found this to show us. It was crazy. Okay, Valerie, you've been to Toronto and Niagara Falls? That is a long ways for you to come. I do have a passport. I'm going to be using it very soon. I need to go to Canada for sure, Heidi. So Heidi says her husband's a great navigator. Well, Burke is our navigator. And he is helping us plan some trips because I said, just tell me what to see when I get there. And tell me where to stay. I need someone to, I get lost in hotels. People laugh when they travel with me because I'll need to go up to my room, and I'm gone a long time because the carpet looks the same on every floor, doesn't it? And you know you have to turn right, but you don't know. It's not easy for me. I get lost in the hotel going to my room. So when I travel alone, like on Baby Lock, I sometimes have to travel alone. It is scary. I have to really think hard about where I'm going. I love to jump in an Uber and say, this is where I want to go. Please get me there. Because I don't want to drive. I get lost. And yes, I am, Roseanne, we are in Utah, northern Utah. We are only about 20 miles away from the Idaho border, which is where I grew up. And we have lived in this part of Utah for about 45 years. No, 40 years. Because we lived in the Salt Lake area for a while. And we've traveled quite a few places. In fact, I think only the northeastern states I haven't been to. Above New York, I haven't been there. And I haven't been to North Dakota, which isn't that far from me. We went to South Dakota about a year ago, and that was fun. But we're planning a trip to Boston, and we are planning a trip, wait for this, to Puerto Rico. Does that sound fun? I can't wait. But Burke has been to these places, and he's telling me everything I need to do and how to get there. I'd get lost without. Utah is beautiful, Shelley. Thank you. Right now, we are total hot and dry. And it is so dry and so hot that we have, I've told you about my bumper crop of box elder bugs, right? And they're the ones that are everywhere. In fact, I'm going to have to pretend I didn't tell you this because this is gross, because I have to kill them. Everyone I see, in fact, right down here, I have a tissue that if I see one, and there's gunk on it, but it's dead box elder bugs. If I see one while we're filming, I have to hurry and grab it in my tissue and put it in the garbage. I hate box elder bugs. And Joyce, I think you will understand because you live around here. Anyway, these box elder bugs, because I have 3 trees outside my windows of my bedroom that are box elder trees. And they're called box elder trees because they have box elder bugs. And that's where they live. That's where they have families. And you can't get rid of them. And now that I have chickens out there under the box elder trees, I can't spray them. I can only spray them and kill them as they come in and they can get in the house. So yesterday, at one moment, I had one in my hair, one on my arm, and one on my face. I was killing them as quick as I could kill them. And they're awful. So in the mornings, down in my entryway of my house, in the front door, I go down and clean up the dead bodies because they don't live very long, but still, it's so stinking gross. I don't like them, okay? But we have another pandemic out there, if you want to call it that. We have, Heidi, you have slugs and snails and teeny tiny grasshoppers. Ooh, big slugs and snails. They have a lot of snails in Salt Lake too. We don't have snails here, so I'm glad. Talk about teeny tiny grasshoppers. We had teeny tiny grasshoppers, about, half-inch big, but they're growing. They're getting bigger. And we have an infestation of grasshoppers. They are everywhere. You can't get rid of them. I walk out in the garden area and they just start jumping everywhere. They're not so much in my grass, but they're in the bushes and in the trees and in the flowers. They are everywhere. And in fact, I planted 2 spearmint plants. Not the peppermints. The spearmint lived. The peppermints, and before the day is over, they had eaten them. There was nothing left. So I'm still watering the roots, hoping next year they'll come back. My spearmint, they did not touch. I don't know why. Maybe they don't like spearmint. They like peppermint. And in fact, in Nevada, they also have these same grasshoppers. they are so thick, and it's just across the border from Utah into Nevada, so thick that on these roads, they'll drive down the road, you hear them crunch, 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 crunch. You can't even walk or drive anywhere without stepping on one. I'm so glad I don't have that here. But they are everywhere. Have you heard about the Mormon crickets? If you haven't, that's something worth Googling, because there was a time when there were so many, and they were crickets and grasshoppers, so many that the people were dying. They were eating their crops and they had nothing. I'm going to tell you another story. Darn. And so seagulls came in. I mean, we're inland. We're an inland state. People don't have seagulls in inland states, right? Well, we now have seagulls because the seagulls came and ate all these crickets. And that's how that's our state bird, is a seagull, which is really weird because we don't have any seas around us. But anyway, seagulls are here. Well, now we have another infestation of crickets and grasshoppers this year. Crazy. In fact, I heard Nevada has toads too. Where are all these things coming from? It's the plague. That's what it is. It's the plague. Valerie says they are plagued by wasps. We have 3 nests in our eaves. Whoa, I hate the wasp. I hate it. Yep, Evelyn, we have grasshoppers with fresh peppermint breath. Oh, I guess maybe I'm glad I don't have the slugs and snails, Heidi. Anyway, it's a little crazy. Hey, I have a quote for you, and then we're going to get on to our demo. I heard this morning, and I've thought a lot about it, and I think it is perfect. You have 2 lives. If you've heard this, I hope they don't mind hearing it again. You have 2 lives, and the second life starts when you realize you only have 1 life. Think about that. The second life starts when you realize you only have 1 life. I thought that was pretty cool. I really like that. Deanna, how do you use WD-40 to get rid of wasps? Because I'm not going to spray them. Oh, you mean the nest? Okay. Because I'll get a lone wasp in my house once in a while. I'm not going to spray it with WD-40. That's probably not the idea. I'm going to have to try that too, because we do have a few, and I like to get them when they're just little teeny nests. I don't like them to get very big. We had an area in our shed that had not been touched for a while, and we found out that we were getting wasps everywhere, and we thought, where are they coming from? And it wasn't until we moved some things that hadn't been moved in a couple of years that there was a nest like this big. And the wasps were all dead because we were spraying all the time, but the nest was huge, just huge. Okay, Deanna, spray the nest. We're going to remember that, definitely, because you can spray that a long ways, right? Hey, I have to tell you another thing. Actually, I've been working on a class, and I'm so excited. It's going to be a live class. It's going to be a fun class. And you know, I like to find things that are a little different. Well, I've got something a little different. A little different. I think you're going to like it. I'm going to probably announce that on Monday, because we have a project on the 10s Monday, and I've got my project already done, and it's fun, and it's something that I will personally use. It's not a beach bag. I know that somebody says, "Oh, it looks like a beach bag." Well, it does. It does use some of the same elements, but it's not. Actually, you can use it for a lot of different things. I know what I'm going to use it for, and it's going to be well used at my house. In fact, everybody needs one. Everybody needs one. So be ready for that on Monday. And I'm hoping on Monday to announce the new class I have coming up. It's going to be a live class. I'm just not quite sure how quickly we can schedule a live thing in there. I don't want to do it too quick because I know that everybody is getting ready for back to school. Back to school. I hate to say that out loud, but back to school. Because summer is not over with, but it feels like it, right? It does. It feels like it. Okay, I want to tell you something really fun. I contacted Madeira Thread. Do any of you use Madeira Thread? That's my favorite thread. I love it. It is like the perfect thread to embroider with and sew with and use on your serger. My favorite threads, and I've been using it for years. Well, I finally contacted the company. I says, tell me about your threads because I would like to have more. All right. And I have to show you what they sent me, and they want me to teach you about Madeira threads. And so I'm going to do that right now. This one I have been using for years. This is my embroidery thread, and it comes in this really cute little box that I open up. This is a new one. I can show you the one half of my threads are already gone. The nice thing about this is, if I use this one a lot, then it's labeled in there. I know which one that I use, and I need to buy another one. You can also use this as the portal for bringing your thread up to use it. But I usually take it out and put it right on my machine. But I can flip it over, and I have 40 more threads that I can open up and use. And this is my favorite. But what I hadn't used before was the one, I've used the Madeira sewing threads, but I didn't have it in this cute little box. And look at this. Look at all those fun colors. I am not going to run out for a long time. And once again, all I do is flip it over, and I have bigger spools on the other side. And if I use this one, then I've got the little label there telling me what number of thread to get, because I must use this one a lot, right? This is brand new. I haven't even broken it out because I have lots of thread on my wall that are Madeira. If you're looking for really high quality thread, Madeira is really a wonderful way to go. Okay, I have been requested to talk about decorative stitches today. So let's go to the machine and let's talk about those. All right, so right over here, I'm on my Destiny right now, and there are my decorative stitches. So if I were in my home page, I'd go into sewing, and then I would go right here. It's going to bring me right up to my utility stitches, and it usually brings me right up to the quilting menu because that's how I have it set up in my settings page. I come right to the quilting menu, and right there is going to be my right hand 1/4 inch stitch. And that's usually where I go to, and that's where I'm going to stay most of the time. But look, right here are my decorative stitches. And it always asks me if I want to delete. I say, you bet I do. And here I'm in my decorative stitches. Look at all those different ones right there. One thing I want to point out is right here, here are my utility stitches, but they can't change or combine or anything. They're just like this one. That's what I'm going to get. I'm just going to get that stitch. I can't do anything more with it besides make it bigger or longer or wider. But I go into my decorative stitches. Look right here. This looks a lot like the ones I just left, right? And there they are. I now can take these stitches and combine them with other stitches if I want. There's my serpentine stitch. I can still make it wider or longer or move it around or change the tension, but I now can add other stitches to it. It can be a leader stitch or something between two decorative stitches because they've brought them over here and now they can be combined. I like that, but I'm going to go back out of there. In fact, let me see what else I can do. I'm going to delete, 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 delete. I want to show you a stitch. The question was, when you're doing decorative stitches, how do you keep them straight? And the hardest time to keep them straight, and I'm going to show you my very favorite stitches within the decorative. There are so many. Look at these. And so if I were stitching this one right here, you can see how big that is. This is at 100%. So, but you can see that I'm going to be jumping all over the place, right? In fact, let's stitch that one out. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, so I'm going to bring this up here. I'm going to let you see what I'm going to do with it. I've got it in that decorative stitch, and I love this one. Now see how that is making me move to the left and to the right? Let me stitch away so you can see that. And someone had complained that it was, not complain's not the right word, asked how you can keep these so they're straight. And I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. Because see, this stitch is jumping all the way to the left and all the way to the right. The thing you have to do is you need to make sure that your fabric is staying parallel to your machine bed. Because if I just let this one go on, let me do it again. If I'm going to move this over a little bit. If I thought that I needed to keep this straight in under my foot, then I'm going to have a little bit of a mess. So right now I'm trying to keep it straight with my foot. Oh, I'm getting off here. So the whole idea is don't watch your foot. So it doesn't look too bad right there, but I was really moving that around and around and around. But what you want to do is find a point that you want to keep it straight to. And I don't mean keep it lined up with it, because it is bouncing around. It's going back and forth. But maybe I have the edge of my foot right here or the edge of my fabric, and I want to keep it parallel. It's not going to stay the same distance apart, because as you can see, I was bouncing back and forth and back and forth. My machine was actually, in fact, you know what I need to do? I need to have my end foot on, and I'm going to show you why. Let me grab it. Either my end foot or my open toe foot. It really wouldn't matter. They're both a lot the same, but I'm going to show you what the differences are here. So let me go back over. I'll move my thread out of the way. I'm going to go over to here. This is the J foot right here. That's my J foot. That's my utility foot. That's what I'm going to use for everything. I'm going to do my 1/4 inch stitching with that foot. But when you go to that heavier stitch, the one I just did, it says put your end foot in. This is a foot that comes with your machine. And it's an important one to have, because right under here, you'll notice, with that spring on there, it's going to be tipped. You'll notice that this one is flat all the way down. This one is going to hold your fabric straight. This one has a little tunnel under there, or a channel. That's going to allow the machine to bounce around and move the fabric as it stitches. It also allows for more decorative stitches or heavier stitches to pass underneath the foot, whereas this one is going to hold them straight. So if you went to do a 1/4 inch stitch and you had this foot on your machine and you think, oh, I don't want to go look for my J foot, I just want to do this quick little stitch with this foot, it's got to be straight, and it's just a straight stitch, it's not going to be straight. You might luck out and get it pretty straight, but because this one allows the fabric to move underneath, it's not going to be as straight as what you can get with this one, because the feed dogs are all in contact right here. But under here, the feed dogs are not so much in contact. It's going to allow the fabric to move around. So you want to have your end foot on, and the nice thing about it is the machine is going to tell you what foot you should have on there. So that is a good thing. But you notice with the J foot, I didn't have too much of a trouble. It just kind of sewed together. And I don't like to get my thread caught underneath in my foot. There I go. It's not. All right. So that is what the end foot will do for you. It allows it to move around. It also has a wide open space down here. So you can see if you're doing appliquing, you've got your pivoting feature on, or if you're really just trying to zero in on something, this allows you to see where your needle is going to land. Where this one, not so much. You've got a little bit going on under there. I mean, you can still see, but not so much. All right, let me put that down. Actually, I want to show you a stitch that I love, and I'm not sure if you guys even know you have this stitch. And I'm going to go to the very end of category number 6. And I am going to go to 6-270 up to 278. And if you look at those stitches, now that stitch we just did right there with the pretty, I just really love that stitch. I use it a lot. Let me plug in 270. Now remember the last stitch we did, it was 100%. You could see the whole stitch. You could see how it is in relation to the foot. But look right here, I have now done 270. Right here, it's telling me that is only 25% of the stitch. So can you imagine how big that stitch is going to be? Let's stitch it out and see. Whoops, put foot down. Don't do it that way, right? All right. And you can see that there is a lot of movement in this stitch. But once again, I'm going to keep my fabric parallel to the foot or to the machine bed, however you want to judge that. And I'm going to go fast, of course. So on these large stitches, you could actually border a quilt or a table topper or a baby blanket. You could border it with this and it will look like you've just done a very professional long arming trick. But see how I'm just keeping this fabric straight? I'm not trying to move it around with my needle. I want the needle and the feed dogs to do their work. I'm going to give it one more loop here. And there are about 10 stitches that are this big that you look at that and you think, wow. Okay, so this one was at 100%. This one was at 25% on my screen. So while you're stitching it, you really just have to keep your fabric straight. And maybe the straight will be along here and along there. You just have to allow it to go and let it do its job. Have you used those stitches before? Okay, I'm reading Evelyn's. The stitch you did first, if you increase the tension, would it form a type of shearing? I have never increased the tension on those. I have never tried that. Should we see what happens? I don't know if it would shear the fabric or not. I'm not sure that it would. And my thread came undone. When I get into my decorative stitches, I usually just kind of leave the tensions alone, unless I'm going to do some couching with it or some bobbin works, and then I'm definitely going to increase the tension or decrease, whichever is applicable at that time. Let me go back to that one. There are so many fantastic stitches. Have you all stitched every one of them? I haven't. Oh, there it is. All right, let's increase that tension. I don't know what that's going to do. I have no idea. I'm almost scared to do it. And I've got 2 layers of fabric here. It's maybe not going to do a whole lot. It is puckering the fabric a bit. So are you thinking of gathering with this as a decorative stitch on a gather, Evelyn? Heidi, do I like to put a piece of stabilizer underneath? If I'm going to be doing some heavy stitching, yes. All right, look at that. It did pucker that. And I'm sure that if I have 1 layer of fabric, I would get a lot more. That would be kind of cute, wouldn't it? Let me check your questions here. If I'm going to do a heavy stitch like some of these, I'm definitely going to have some stabilizer. And like with right here, I chose to have 2 layers of fabric so that I could see where I was. I didn't want this. it's going to pucker if I don't. Myrna, this is a cool machine. I love the Destiny. I've been sewing on the Solaris over here all morning, and that's why I can't see, because I think, oh, I've been right down there. You know how you have something close to your eyes, and then when you go to focus away, you can't? It's crazy. It's crazy. Hi, Pat. I'm glad you're here. Oh, yes, the Madeira with all the organization there. I love it too, and it's going to protect it in these. And then I can always find the color that I want. I really love it. I got my wall over here that I have a lot of threads on my wall. In fact, I'm going to point you up because I have got threads coming out my ears. I told you about my grandson loving to come and see Fred. Those are a lot of my threads right there. And but it's so nice to have them in the box over here. And when I'm traveling, I don't have to worry about picking threads out. I just take my box. And if I'm going to go to a quilt retreat, I just take my box. I love it. I've got several boxes down here that I already have been sewing out of for many times, and I really, really like it. I know, I feel like I'm kind of spoiled with threads. I love it. Got to have my thread. I want it to match, okay? And sometimes I want it to not match, and I got to have the right ones. Oh, yep. Evelyn, I think it is possible because you'll see that this is a stabilized piece of fabric, so it didn't really gather well, but I'll bet you if you have the right fabric, this would be great. All right, do you have any other questions, comments, or tell us what you did with it? I know I have used these stitches. In fact, let me go back over here. I want to show you what some of these stitches are. Let me get the lighting there right. All right, I'm going to delete that one. I'm going to go all the way to about right here. So this is the one that I stitched, that loopy loop one, but look at right here. Oh, you know what? Now we're going to be adding stitches. I don't want to. I just want to have one full one. And there we have, it looks like a spring. That one is fun. Can you guys even see that? I got the glare on it. Okay, I am going to pull you in a little tighter. So this one, it looks like a bed spring or something, right? But look at this one. And now you've got there, I've done that again. I don't want to do that. There you have got the loops, and isn't that pretty? Can you imagine putting that on a border of a quilt? And then here is my all-time favorite. It's the wave. I really like this one. You can even do a channel quilting if you can put rows and rows on your project. When I did a lot of By Annie bags, and you have to quilt your fabric with the soft and stable on the inside, this is really pretty. These stitches are also really pretty in bobbin works if you ever want to do that. And then of course here's some tulips. There, I've done it again. Don't want to do that. There's some tulips. Cute, huh? And you go down here, you've got a giant zigzag. If you can't get your zigzag big enough, this is where you go. And notice right there, this is, once again, 25% of the size of the stitch. So usually we look at a stitch, like this one up here, I'll go up to that one. No, there I go. You can see that is 100%, those pretty flowers. You can see it in relation to the foot. So you can kind of judge or gear how that is going to stitch out. But when you go down here, you're in a whole different ballgame, because there's my stitch, there's my foot, but it's only 25% of the size. So look at that. And then you've got some little diamonds on that same way to go. All right, let's go see what that one is. Oh, wow. This one is 50%. And those are some really pretty flowers, but I'll bet that would be beautiful on a project. So always pay attention to that little percentage down there. There's another beautiful flower at 50%. There's another one at 50%. More, this one's at 25%. So that one is really going to be big. And this one at 50%. This one I have not stitched this one out. This is that little bubble thing, if you want to put some words in that bubble. But of course, right there, if you wanted to, you could just have one portion of that stitch, right? There, I've got it. I've got one portion of that stitch. And I have a glare on my screen. There we go. All right, here we go. And if you've got the destiny, I'm sorry to tell you that you've already got things written out there. I love you. I think that is so much fun. This machine is amazing. Does anybody have any questions? Hello, Mavis. Thank you for loving the daily quick tips. I try to think of a new one to post every day, and I hope you do like them. And I try to make them just little snippets, because don't we learn in snippets? That's how I learn. I learn a lot better that way. I don't see any more questions unless I've missed something here. Let me just scroll through and see if I can find it. It's Thursday. We've got a weekend coming up. And sad to say, the weekends are getting closer to school. I love school, okay? Don't get me wrong. In fact, I'll get into that at a later time. It's my favorite time of year. Okay, Shelly says she loves the Madeira. I have a full line of rayon embroidery. You are a lucky lady. You are. Because if you have all those colors, gosh. Oh, Valerie says her school only finished for the summer on Friday. Well, when do you go back to school, Valerie? That's not much of a break. I think our kids here go back in about 3 weeks. And Heidi, we're talking about hornets and wasps here. Heidi says they sell cans of hornet spray that spray 8 to 10 feet to stay safe. Yeah, we use that a lot. Yep, I don't like the wasp. I don't know why they were put here. I haven't figured it out yet. We don't have a lot of mosquitoes. I think they do that mosquito abatement program here in town. So we really don't have a lot of mosquitoes. And then we have bats that live in the area. And I love a bat because they eat the mosquitoes. And don't the dragonflies eat mosquitoes too? There are things that go out there and eat them. But I have gotten a few mosquito bites that I just want to itch them so bad. And so I scratch them and then they bleed and they get sore. I have one on my ankle right now that right now I want to dig at it. And you shouldn't, right? You shouldn't, but I do. Is there a difference on how the threads launder on clothing? That is a really good question. So anybody, I know that Sarah sews clothes. I do not. And we talked about that, Sarah. So I'm not very good help to you. So I don't know the answer to that. I know that some threads will shrink. It's just the nature of the thread, but so does the fabric, right? My granddaughter was here last week, Kaya, sewing a cute pair of shorts. But she went in and washed all of the fabric before she ever made her clothes out of it. And that is wonderful dedication. I do a lot of quilts and bags, and I do not wash my fabrics first. I know that some people do, even when they do quilts and bags and things like that. I do not. And sometimes I've regretted it because the colors have run. I know on a bag I did it was an inexpensive fabric, but I was desperate. I just ran to the store closest to me really quick and just picked up something that had to have red in it. And then water spilled on the project and the red ran. So I wished I would have washed it first, and I did not. Oh, Paula, so this one, okay, I'm going to take these a little bit at a time. So I was going to do a quilt with this, but I decided that a table runner is nothing more than a mini quilt. And you can take the pieces of the table runner and make a quilt with it. So I'm doing a table runner, and that's the class I'm going to be doing live very soon. But just know that whenever you see a table runner, that it can be a quilt. But it's just a mini one so you can learn the process. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Let's see. So Valerie says they go back to school the first week of September. They only have 6 weeks off. We are spoiled. We get 3 months off. We get June, July, and August. But yet they go sometimes into school into June and they start in August. So it's not a full 3 months. Heidi said she had a painted lady butterfly today in her butterfly bush. I love that. I love that. I think butterflies are so beautiful. I do. All right. Does anybody have suggestions for Sarah telling her how the fabrics or how the threads will launder in clothing? I don't. I don't have an idea on that. So if anybody else has an idea, will you put it in the comments? Sarah said she loves to make her clothes. Talk about spoiled. Sarah's a one spoiled little lady. I'm telling you, I've got a lot of threads, and I have a whole ton of fabric in my closet here. Sarah's husband likes to buy her sewing machines. We all need a husband like that, don't we? Don't we? Yes, definitely. It was fun visiting with Sarah the other day. I love that. All right. I only make zipper bags, just a novice. Well, the project on Monday does not have a zipper in it. I think I've done a lot of zippers lately, and I love zippers, but this one does not have a zipper. Heidi has a good suggestion. Do a test samples and test and test and test. I know when you do a serger stitches, you always test your stitches. And if I'm trying out a new stitch on my sewing machine like this, I would test it first to make sure it's what I like. So, Sarah, do some tests on some fabrics, on some threads, and then wash it and see what happens. That is a great idea, Heidi. Why didn't I think of that? All right. Unless you have more questions, I think I'm done for the weekend. And I hope you have a great weekend. No holidays here. It's just a hot, dry weekend. But I do have fun things coming up on Monday. You're going to like it. I think you're going to like it. I hope you like it. So I hope to see you back here on Monday at 10 o'clock in the morning. And hopefully I'll be able to show you the project we're going to have a class on coming up. And I hope you go on the website and see if there's anything else you want to sew up this weekend. I try to put posts out there so that remind you about things that we do have on the website. And I hope you find something fun you want to sew or learn about your machine. And Monday, we're going to sew up another project. I'm going to go rest my eyes. Actually, I haven't rested my eyes well this week. We've gone to 2 movies this week. I don't know if you've seen them. We've had a lot of new movies come out. We had the Indiana Jones movie come out. I really liked that one. The other night we went to Mission Impossible. That one was pretty good. Not disappointed in Tom Cruise at all. And last night we went to the Barbie movie. I love to hear what you guys think about the Barbie movie. There's been so much hype about it. So much. Everybody's talking about it. And you go there, they're all dressed up. In fact, I want to show you. No, maybe I won't show you right now because it's on my phone. But I have a Barbie outfit that I got so many years ago. I didn't dress up for the Barbie movie, but there were a lot of people that were dressed up. I did not do that. But I want to hear what you guys, if you've seen it, what you think of the Barbie movie. And Valerie said she'll be flying home on Monday. That's so good of you to visit your parents. So good of you. So put in your comments what you thought of that movie. And I want you, we're going to have a contest very soon. I want to see your projects that you do with our project on the tans. Some of you have been posting them, but I want to see more. I want to see more. Summer's almost over. You're going to have to start sewing because it's almost gone. All right. Oh, Heidi, I really want to see that. That looks good. Oppenheimer. I do want to see that. All right. I guess I'm over and out. Have a great weekend, and I will see you bright and early on Monday. Okay? So I will see you then. Bye-bye.